How would Kenya perform as a country if it were to be assessed? Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of the mini-series Resuscitating Kenya on the Ebenezer Moment Show. In concluding last episode, I hinted at a tale of two countries and their performance. Are they succeeding? Are they failing? This mini-series is based on my children's book, Resuscitating Kenya. I wrote the book in 2010 as a reflection on the post-election violence of 2007 and 2008, following a hotly contested general election. The aftermath of the fallout from that contested general election was devastating, affecting many individuals and families, and not just politicians, citizens at large. As an educator, a big part of my profession is in education. Actually, it started as a teaching assistant in a kindergarten. Over the years, I believe it's passed down from the previous generation. I am a storyteller. This is my attempt at continuing my love of storytelling, story listening. I would sit down with children in the estate and just tell stories, evening stories before we go to bed. So writing this book was a way of attempting to address or maybe externalize the trauma that many people experienced and many people internalized, seeing the images on media, whether people were living at the moment in the country of Kenya or living abroad. The world is a global village. Those news are shared and reported across the borders. And so we could go through the motions and see the sad news that were difficult to watch and process. Writing the book was an attempt to just try to make sense and try to communicate to young minds what they witnessed, what they saw, what they lived through, and putting it in their language, also instilling a desire to choose different ways of addressing differences, to choose different ways of attempting to coexist and make this thing we call democracy not only work for the country, but succeed. How can we measure success or failure in a country? I'll borrow from Professor Dr. Ong Kian Ming of Taylor's University, who observed that three things stand out in analyzing powerful countries. Professor Ming says one is using what the country already has, the resources that are already available to the country. Building successful companies is the second one. 3, attracting people and ideas. And on attracting people and ideas, he elaborates saying the people who live and work in a country contribute to its success. By welcoming talented individuals from around the world, countries can boost innovation and strengthen their economies. Now, a tale of two countries. That's how I ended the previous episode. What's a tale of two countries? And how do we assess the success or failure of a country? On page 3 of my book, Resuscitating Kenya, I write that most countries have done a good job to protect their structures and to maintain a good supply of the necessary ingredients that help them be a successful or a powerful country, however, whatever perspective one takes. However, some countries have experienced hardships in sustaining good ingredients for a healthy and balanced growth. Still others have remained stagnant, suffering from lack of those necessary ingredients and unable to develop the little that they may have internally. Now, when we think of our country, Kenya, at that time, 2007, the post-election violence that deteriorated so rapidly and so low, and there were talks like a banana republic, a failed state. We can't afford this. The social societies, religious societies, non-governmental organizations, social societies appealed to the leaders. We cannot afford to have a failed state. We can't continue like this. We'll get to a point where the country cannot be brought back. So if, in my perspective, an important ingredient is that one of people, attracting people and ideas, because sometimes it's the lack of attracting good people and ideas that can lead to a deterioration in a country. When people leave because they don't feel safe, the environment is not conducive to productivity, there are just no opportunities for them, or maybe the government of the day is not showing a goodwill or even any effort in creating an environment that can cause them to be productive and in return to cause a country to be successful. So it's people. And so for people of faith, there is an additional step, not just attracting good people and good ideas. For people of faith, and we can never separate religion and politics because it all impacts humans. It's all about human beings, and human beings, both religious and political. One more thing that's added, especially for me, as I described from a Christian perspective, from the book of Proverbs 29:2. We read that when the righteous thrive, people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, people groan. When people who are righteous, who are seeking justice, democracy, human rights, are in places of authority, citizens rejoice. They can thrive in what they are doing. They can be productive. They can predict what to expect. They can plan and actually expect that their plans may come to fruition. Because those who are in leadership are just, are righteous, are God-fearing. But when wicked rule, people groan. And there have been times that people have groaned. In 2007, 2008, it's the groaning of the people that led people to the streets to fight it out. Next year is another general election 20 years later. May it not be another incident, a repeat of the history. Success is also measured by the standards that people live by. If people are distracted, maybe selfish, self-seeking, no regard of deity of God, it's likely that their priorities will be misguided, not seeking the good of the country, but seeking personal good. Another scripture in the Bible from Exodus 18:21 reads, instructions were given to Moses when they were setting up the nation. But select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy, who hate dishonest gain, appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. People who are trustworthy, people who fear God. For people of faith, that's an additional component that's important. Trustworthy, fear God, just people. I will now turn to look closely at the events that led to that breakdown I keep referring to. Breakdown in the democratic structure of general election that led to post-election violence in our next episode. We'll analyze the occurrence and the reactions that evolved from that occurrence. Until then, from all of us here on Ebenezer Moments. Thank you for joining us today. Engage with us. We want to hear from you, your questions, your comments, your insight, your thoughts, as we look together, because it's understanding history that helps us understand the present. By reflecting and learning from history, we understand where we are today, and we project the future or make choices for a preferred future. So let's do this together. Thank you for joining us. Ebenezer.